Okay. I wanted to introduce Lindsey Williams with the fact that Bilderberg in 2008, Jim Tucker and my sources as well as Daniel Estelin, all reported that the Bilderberg Group was planning to slash oil prices by at least half. That would have been $75. Lindsey Williams, who did work for Atlantic Richfield and other big oil companies as a high-level minister, he was a ground-level minister, but they brought him in to be part of the board meetings. That's pretty standard in many cases. And he heard them when they found all the extra oil in Alaska, more than Saudi Arabia. He heard them say, we can't pump this out. That's now come out in the Associated Press 20 years after he broke it and wrote a best-selling book about it. So he's been confirmed. That's who we have on here, who's been confirmed over and over again, who we can trust, who we know is accurate. This 80-plus-year-old, I think he said 87-year-old, former executive. I know who it is, what company, but I'm not at liberty to say. But the point is, there were several oil companies involved, 3 big ones. I'm just going to leave it at that. Because it was a joint deal. A lot of times oil companies, a joint deal. Lindsey put out a video that was #1 on Google off and on for about 6 months. So tens of millions of views conservatively. They called up and said, we're going to kill you if you don't shut up. You were brought into this in confidence. Don't talk about how there's plenty of oil anymore. But the guy was dying, thought he was dying at the time, just like E. Howard Hunt went public a year before he died, thinking he was going to die, and then right before he did die, admitting he ran the op to kill Kennedy. It's now declassified, basically. But the issue here is he thought he was going to die and said, but here's what I can tell you. Lindsey has now talked to him. He doesn't really like what's happening, but he's still a globalist. And the guy may die soon, so we may be able to, in the next year or so, give you his name, as long as Lindsey sticks around and he's in great health. He's a old-timer himself. But enough of me. The point is, Lindsey said it's $150 a barrel right now, but he said within 3 months it's going to drop below 50. Everybody laughed at him. Because we just had from Bilderberg they were going to cut it in half. That would have been down to 75. And that sounded insane. In fact, there's the Prison Planet article that we posted. Leaked agenda, Bilderberg Group plans economic depression. And in the article from May 6th is just the footnote. And somebody pointed out after Lindsey went public that we'd already put this intel out. So, see, not only am I confirming what Lindsey said from his source, we separately already had this, but we weren't smart like Lindsey to make the prediction and point it out. This was just intel that we came up with. So, in fact, there it is, about the $150 a barrel, and just amazing. Oh, that's Watson reporting on our original report. Let me give you the original report. Here it is. Secret Bilderberg agenda to microchip Americans. And June 10th, 2008. That's the original article that had it. So that said, Lindsey Williams, we'll just keep him to the end of the show today because I'm going to him later and I apologize. He is here with us, but the whole global agenda is unfolding. Now, oil went back up, but Lindsey said for at least a year. And for a year, it was on average at about $55. I've done the math, right around $55 a barrel, like he said. Now it's gone up to 76, 79 is the high earlier today. The trolls tried to discredit Lindsey, saying, oh, look, it went back up. No, his prediction was it would go down for a year. And it wasn't a prediction. It was he was told this by an insider. Lindsey, we're going to break in 2 minutes, but great to have you back with us. You're breaking this news here. We're honored to have you. This guy spilt his guts, as you told me during the break, believing he may die anytime. We're going to get even more from a high-level insider today. Thanks for breaking it here.
Thank you, Alex, for allowing me the privilege of being on your show today. Alex, do you realize that this is the first radio talk show that I've done in 3 months? I have not done a single show with anybody in 3 months. Your producer called me back about 2 months ago, and he said, the price of crude oil is going up. Alex said, would you appear on the show? I said, would you please give me a rain check? I said, until I know what I'm talking about, until I have talked with the elite themselves and can tell you that I guarantee this is going to take place, I don't want to be on your show. I said, please give me a rain check. And when I know what I'm talking about, instead of guessing, I'll be glad to be there. Alex Jones' show today is the first show I have appeared on in 3 months, and no one has ever heard the material that you're going to hear in a few minutes, because when I got back from 3 months of being absent, one morning I felt hey, I should pick up the telephone and call these people and ask them what they're doing. And I did. Just a few days ago, I picked up the phone. Sure enough, he answered the phone the first time around. He's over 85 years of age. He nearly died last winter. I didn't know that. Alex, he confessed everything. Now, have you ever thought about the fact that when a person is facing eternity, and everybody knows that graveyard's out there, you realize that even the elite themselves, when they're facing such circumstances as that, will oftentimes tell you things that they would never tell you otherwise. And
Charlotte Iserby's father was Skull and Bones and confessed and repented right before he died of cancer and cried his guts out. It's never too late. Just like the thief on the cross. Pastor, stay with us. We're coming right back.
Alex, you're right. This is not a joke. This man's confessed everything. Over 85 years of age, almost died last winter, and I have not talked to him for 2 years. And 2 years ago, he said the price of crude oil is going from $147 to $50 a barrel, and everybody said, you're stupid, you're crazy, your credibility is going to be destroyed if you dare give out such frivolous information. I did 3 months later because I have never found these individuals to be wrong. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. Whenever they say it, you can believe it's going to happen. Wall Street couldn't take it. The OPEC couldn't handle it. And it went to $50 a barrel. In fact, it went down to $34 a barrel. It's going back up to $70. It's going to fluctuate back and forth in between there. And, Alex, when I told that, there was only one or two little old-bitty radio talk shows that would dare even allow me on to tell something so stupid. And Wall Street, even some Wall Street people were laughing at me and saying it'll so impact the world it couldn't possibly happen, but Alex, it happened. Now, I said all of that to say this. This man confessed everything. He sees that graveyards are around the corner.
You said 25 or longer ago there was oil all over Alaska. You were there. You said where it was at. They've now had to admit that and that they're holding those reserves. You wrote a best-selling book about that. I don't know how anybody could be bored. You thrill seekers out there, you're not going to find thrills bungee cord jumping or climbing mountains like you're going to find fighting tyranny. There's a whole war going on with the social engineers bringing in their planetary eugenics government. It's in all their documents, all their statements. I mean, I have Reuters right here today, Monday, October 19th, saying they may ban people attending the World Cup because emissions are soaring and they can't have carbon tax. Look at this headline. World's future is being decided. We need to curtail air travel now. Curtail. I mean, listen. I've got the treaty. Farmers venturing into brave new world of carbon markets. Look at it. It's total takeover. And the British Lord calling for restricting air travel, he's the guy that owns the carbon credit rating industry. This guy, they don't tell you this in the article, but I have the article where he's the one that calls for that. Look at this. Stern launches credit rating agency. Lord Stern. They don't tell you that, though, when he writes for The Guardian. Look at this. Here is the Copenhagen Treaty. This is only 2 pages of 1,000. Point 38A, global government. I'm going to cover this later, but I'm going to shut up and go to Lindsey Williams.
A few days ago, now please, folks, understand, this is not a year, 2 year ago information. A few days ago, when I got back in the office for the first time in over 2 months, I picked up the phone. He was very friendly. I was stunned. Now, I'm going to have to admit to you, I am still shaken. Immediately, the very first thing I did was picked up my phone, and I called Kansas City. And I said, I'm hopping the next airplane and coming out there. You have your cameras ready. Okay, here we go. He said, within 2 years, you will not recognize America. Oh, my goodness. When he said that, my mind went 1,000 miles an hour. By the way, when I was in the studio the other day making these DVDs, the studio owner came in and he said, wait a minute, you can't put that in. He said, you cut that out. He said, it'd be too dangerous to even put that in my studio. And we did. We cut one little segment out because he said, you can't make that statement. He said, it'll fall back unless there's a studio. Now, let me keep going here.
This is like Russia. It's none of the guy's business where you're videotaping something in a studio, but the average American's been programmed to be like a Soviet Nazi. You cut out, well, you say whatever you want here. You tell us what's not in the DVD.
He said, quote, within 2 years, you will not recognize America. And the first thing I wanted to know is, what are you talking about? He said, we have altered our timeline. I'm going to put it this way. The elite have altered their timeline. He said, McCain is our man. I did not have the slightest idea how important this was. And I'm going to tell you in a few moments, this Obama guy is in trouble. This gentleman said, after 2 years, you will be so poor, you will not be able to rebel. Alex, I was stunned. I mean, this man went on and on and on with what they're doing. Why will you be so poor after 2 years? He kept using the expression 2 years. They have a new timeline